Shalom, Call Halo Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushua, Bahashim Kodash. Double honors to the elders and elder apostles of GMS, including the elders that came before them that taught us this truth. Shalom and salutations to all the brothers out pushing the word in truth and in sincerity. My brother Yahshua back with a little quick war update, all right, which has become commonplace, all right, as we measure the time diligently in and of itself. All right, let's get that real quick. This is Second Ezra 9. Second Ezra 9 and 1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Okay? Therefore, when there shall be earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then thou shalt well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. Salakia. All right? So, hey, we're looking at this Third World War. All right? We're going to measure the time diligently, daily, right? You got to have your eye on this thing. All right, now back to Jeremiah. What do we see? We see the Amalekites drawing them out, okay? This is Jeremiah 49 and 20. Therefore hear the counsel of the Lord that he hath taken against Edom. Amalekites are Edomites. And his purposes that he purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. All right. Now we'll watch a couple of these little videos, starting with this. Israel, Iran ready for war. The countdown to an Israeli war with Iran has begun. All right. Doomsday Clock. Right, let's watch this.
At Aspen Dental today.
Slovakia. Always a commercial. Devil.
The countdown to an Israeli war with Iran has begun. If Biden returns to the Iran nuclear deal, don't be surprised if Israel takes matters into its own hands.
Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. All right, let's hear that again. All right. Don't be surprised if the least of the flock draws them out. Starts the war anyway. All right.
If Biden returns to the Iran nuclear deal, don't be surprised if Israel takes matters into its own hands.
That's prophecy. Okay. What does this word say? Atomic. Iran's secret nuclear. Hey, I have created the smith that bloweth of coals in the fire. All right. The prophecies are jumping off the page.
A small army of top Israeli national security officials descended on Washington last week for their first in-person consultations with the Biden administration over its intention to return to the Iran nuclear deal. Israel is adamantly opposed to the agreement, arguing that in exchange for a pause in Tehran's nuclear program, it virtually guarantees that Iran can become a nuclear weapons threshold state by the time the deal expires in 2030. While immediately funneling billions of dollars to a revolutionary regime single-mindedly focused not just on sowing aggression and terrorism across the Middle East.
2030, my ass. They got nukes now. Okay? They got nukes. Now, just as Cuba, right, with the Russian missile crisis going back, Cuba's holding them nukes right over there. They never took those nukes away. Right? They made the headlines go away, but Russia didn't move them nukes. They're still there. All right. So you think that Iran, you think that Russia don't have some nukes over there in Iran? That's ridiculous. All right. They're lying to you, making you believe that, of course, their ally have nukes over there. They're not Iran's weapons. They're Russia's weapons. So that's semantics. But you know those nukes are there. All right, ready to be used. The moment that the angels allow it to happen, that are holding back the four winds. All right? Because the angels shut that shit down. You could think you're going to have a nuclear strike, but the angels will shut that thing down if it's not time yet. All right? Carry
on the destruction of the Jewish state itself. That's not a risk that the Israelis are prepared to take lying down, as they've repeatedly made clear. If Washington's strategy leaves Israel convinced that it faces a choice between fighting a much weakened Iran now or a much stronger Iran on a glide path to nuclear weapons a few years from now, no one should be surprised if Israel chooses the former. Though last week's talks got almost no attention in the US press, my impression from people familiar with the discussions is that they may well mark the moment that the countdown to a new war in the Middle East began. The Israeli delegation included Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's national security advisor, Meir Ben-Shabbat, the head of the Mossad, Yossi Cohen, the chief intelligence officer of the Israel Defense Forces, IDF, General Tamir Heyman, and the Air Force general in charge of Israel's Iran strategy, Tal Kelman.
Okay, so we got the least of the flock drawing them out. All right, now I'm going to watch one more, get some precepts, and keep it short. All right, this one is called Hot. Israel to be defeated with a single operation. All right, Iran to defeat Israel with a single op. All right, secret files 1 hour ago. All right, this is how current this stuff is coming off the press.
Just recently, the delivery on Boeing's new and improved F-15EX.
Whatever. Those are Satan's chariots right there.
Top Iranian general says Israel could be defeated with a single operation. The head of Iran's elite Revolutionary Guard said recent events across the Middle East have exposed vulnerabilities in Israel, which he argued could be defeated with just one decisive blow should a conflict break out between.
Have you become as weak as we? Have you altogether become as weak as we? You're not as strong as the report, the rumor was. We ain't afraid of you.
The two top foes. In an interview aired Wednesday by the semi-official Islamic Republic of Iran Broadcasting, Major General Hossein Salami discussed recent developments he argued belied Israel's weakness. These included an apparently ongoing series of cyber attacks affecting dozens of Israeli companies that began late last year, the alleged execution of suspected Israeli spies in the northern Iraqi city of Erbil in January.
Okay, so this is asymmetric warfare. They're talking about cyber attacks, all right, which is part of warfare today. They didn't have that shit back in the big one, which they call World War II. All right. Suddenly, computer chips play an important part. You can't even sell cars right now because there's a lack of computer chips. I wonder why. They're focusing their attention on making the ones that they got to put in either in your right hand or in your forehead. All right. So everything works together. One hand watches the other. The Most High is making a move on that ass right now.
Explosions that rattled a Petro-Israeli port city of Haifa in February. Last month's missile factory blast at a missile site, and landing of a Syrian anti-air missile near the Dimona nuclear reactor, as well as a recent fire that broke out by Ben Gurion International Airport. Salami said that all the vulnerabilities of the Zionist regime were demonstrated over the past few months and that after 10 incidents, an 11th could follow. The senior military official said Israel was especially at risk due to its reliance on maritime trade, something he claimed accounted for 90% of Israel's trade.
Sanctions, embargo.
These routes, he said, could be easily disrupted, and he argued the country's relatively small size made it susceptible to a devastating strike.
Supply chain. This is how you win a war. All right? They're sitting there saying, hey, we put you guys down real quick here. Right? And so what that's going to do is going to cause the least of the flock to get a first strike in now and pull Babylon the Great in there. So they got to hurry this thing up. What are you talking about, 2030? All right? This thing is going to happen fast.
Their biggest weakness is that any tactical action could bring about a strategic defeat to them, Salami said. meaning that just a single operation can ruin this regime.
And there you have it. All right. So we're in this thing. This thing is going down. All right. Quickly. Revelation 11. Quickly. And 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. All right. It is even at the door. Quickly. All right. Here we are. Let's see. Let's get Isaiah, because this is going to be a nuclear war. Let's get some real quick. 54. Psalm 54, 6. What? Or 51. Let's see. Let's lock in. Isaiah. How did I put Psalm? Isaiah 54 and 16. Salakia. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. And I have created the waster to destroy. Okay? All right? And forges a weapon fit for its work. Right? Makes the weapons of destruction. It's talking about them nukes. So it's going to be a nuclear exchange. All right, now Isaiah 24. So Isaiah 24 and 19. We'll close on this. The earth is utterly broken down. The earth is clean dissolved. The earth is moved exceedingly. All right. The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall and not rise again. What is that? That is those nuclear devices. That nuclear exchange is going to rock the whole planet. All right. And we're watching this thing spiral out of control into free fall. All right. So stay tuned. All right. We're going to do this. We're going to stay up on this and incrementally watch this thing take shape. All right. So with that, I hope that the elect were edified. And with that, we're going to say shalom.